To really see what's cool with common table expressions and other temporary objects, first let's see some of the limitations that they overcome. Let's look at this simple query that just pulls in 4 fields of our employee table. Now what we want to do is look at these alphabetically by last name. Now if there's a tie for last name, then we'll use the tiebreaker of first name. So let's say order by last name, comma, first name, and run it. Now we have an alphabetical sort saying Adams is the first employee, Bender is second, Brown third, and so forth. And it looks like Phil Wilkonkinski alphabetically is the last one. Now we're going to use one of those ranking techniques from Chapter 8. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the row number, row underscore number. And we'll put 2 parentheses there, and we'll put over and 2 parentheses there. Now what should the row number be over? It will be their last name, first name. So let's cut and paste this entire order by clause and put it in the over clause and run it. There we go. Adams is 1, Bender's 2, Brown 3, all the way down to 13. Now, if the goal was to show who is in position number 10 alphabetically, well, we can see right here it's Barbara O'Neill. But we want to show just that record. Put a where clause in, and what do we choose? This field has no name. So let's alias this as position and give ourselves a little space here. And then say position equals 10. Let's run this. And it says invalid column name position, because this isn't really a column in the table. This is just a label on top of an expression field. So you can't predicate off the alias of an expression field. Now let's look at this one more time. This query runs just fine and appears to have 5 fields: first name, last name, emp ID, location ID, and position. So I'm attempting to query on the position field. And I get an error. Well, in this case, you're going to need some sort of temporary object, and one of the most common that's been around for a while is the derived table. What's a derived table? Well, let's say that I wanted to rename this table from employee to empsort, because this is the sorted employees. I'm not going to really rename the table. I'm going to put a parenthesis all the way around the query. And just for neatness, let's indent it and call this entire query as emp sort. Now, up at the beginning, I'm going to say select all fields from the emsort derived table. Run this. It appears to be the same. Now, when we run the whole thing, look at that. It has materialized all of these fields as its own object, allowing you to predicate on the new position field. The common table expression shares the advantage that the derived table does with some other advantages. Now, we're not going to learn all the advantages in this lab, but we'll learn one that's kind of easy to read. First of all, let's take this entire query, surround it in the parentheses, make sure that it runs, and now we're going to put the word with emp sort as at the top. And this is the entire thing that represents emp sort. Now, it's going to be far easier to run a query from this temporary object. We put emsort down here. Look at that. Now we can say where position equals 10. Splendid. The common table expression made a clean-looking query at the bottom because it took care of all the calculations and all the fancy stuff at the top. Let's start off with a simple example from the grant table. And let's look at all records and just the fields of grant ID, grant name, and amount. Now, let's narrow this down to just the high grants. Let's say where amount is greater than $20,000 and run it. Now we get just 5 records. These are our high grants. And let me take this entire query and I'm going to tab it over. At the beginning of the query, we're going to put a parenthesis, At the ending of the query, we're going to put another parenthesis. And atop of it, let's say with high grants as. And below it, let's say select all fields from high grants and run it. Okay, so far it's the same. Well, it can have some added advantages. This select star is a very easy way to view all the fields you want because you set the fields here. What if you started making this field a little more complicated, like amount plus 1,000? And you can say as donated amount. Use an expression field. It runs, says donated amount, but our general query has not changed in complexity. All right, let's dial this back to the standard. And we're just going to pull in the fields as they are. Now, what if we wanted to call this one grant number, and instead of grant name, it's gname, and instead of this being an amount, it's pledge? We could alias all of the fields in here, but there's another way you can do this. Put a parenthesis before the as. You can actually specify the field aliases up here. Let's say grant number, gname, and pledge. And run it. And look, we get the aliased fields in the declaration of our common table expression. When it comes to sorting with common table expressions, there's a couple of things you're going to want to know. Let's look at all of the records of the grant table. We've got 10 grants of varying amounts. Now let's put these amounts by highest to lowest amount. Okay, here's the highest grant, the second highest, and down here is our lowest. Okay, let's put this inside of a common table expression. Let's surround the whole query in parentheses, and for neatness, let's indent the query. And let's put with CTE as, and we'll select from the CTE below. It's pretty straightforward. Except we get this error message that says you can't use order by inside of an inline function, derived table, subquery, or common table expression. But what we can do is we can take the order by clause out of the set of parentheses and put it below the common table expression as part of the query. But there is something that will allow us to leave the order by in. Let's put it back inside the parentheses. Again, it says you can't use it unless you use top, offset, or for XML. Well, we learned about top, so let's try that. Let's say top 100%. Boy, I think I'm pretty clever. That gets me all my records and allows me to use the order by clause by amount in the parentheses. I run it, it runs, but notice it's not picking the order that came out of the common table expression. It's using the original physical order of the table. Lab 10.1, Skill Check 1. You want to create an external report of your locations with a common table expression called localist. This list should show all fields of the location table except for location ID. The field should also get new names, as shown in the matrix below, where street should be shown as address, city should be shown as municipality, and state should be shown as region. When you're done, your screen should resemble the figure you see here. Skill Check 2. Create a common table expression called emp grant rank that joins the grant and employee tables. You must be able to see the names of each employee who registered a grant. Include the following 4 fields in the emp grant rank: grant name, first name, last name, and amount. For your 5th field, create an expression field named grant rank that uses the dense rank function. When you're done, your screen should resemble the figure you see here.